Okay, cool. Second day of going live. Nice. Great. Um, this is gonna stay recorded. So anybody who starts to watch this, today is the second day that I'm live streaming my day-to-day work. In this case, I am building for Finsweet attributes v2. We are still a bit to go until it's finished, but I want to share the journey of building that every day. So yesterday we did a bit of building. I actually shared something in Twitter, x.com, which is the a small preview of something that, a feature that was implemented yesterday and was suggested by Shane, one of the users. And it is cool. I really like just working and having feedback from you guys. So if you're watching this, you want to be just working alongside with me, I really appreciate it. So I'm going to follow the same um, structure as I did yesterday, which was I'm using a Pomodoro technique, which essentially it's 25 minutes of deep work, 5 minutes of break, 25 minutes of deep work, 5 minutes break, 25 more, and then 5 more, and then the last 25, and then we do a 15 minutes break, and we're done. Okay, so this live stream is going to take about 2 hours, where during the focused moments, I'm going to be working. I will be commenting out what I'm doing. So if you want to work alongside with me, you can just mute me if if I'm disturbing you, I'm talking too much. Um, but then during the breaks, the idea is that if you have any questions, if you have something that you want to talk about, just share it in the comments and I will be happy to jump into that. Okay. So, as mentioned, I am doing 5 minutes each. So, 5 minutes, 25 minutes, 5 minutes, 25 minutes. And to just make things easier, I'm going to wait 5 minutes. So it's 2 minutes past the time. In about 3 minutes, I will start doing the Pomodoro session, which I have in here, which it still contains a bunch of the tasks that I wanted to do yesterday. I didn't do much more since I finished yesterday. Hey, Nicola. Hello. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you being here. I haven't done much, so if any of you guys watched me yesterday, you can still catch up very fairly um, quick. Great. Okay. Well, gotta be honest with you. I really expected to be alone yesterday. I'm live streaming. I have really no followers in the platforms related to live streaming. But yesterday we reached 10 viewers. That was cool. It was very cool. So I appreciate anybody who jumped here, who just dropped by, even if you just stay here for 5 minutes, say something, and you leave. I really appreciate it. It's motivating to see that people is interested in what I'm doing. So thank you guys. Nice. Okay, one more minute, and I'm gonna start with the Pomodoro session. I don't know if it makes any difference, but today I actually paid for the platform. But one of the things that I'm gonna rant about is that I just paid for, I'm using Restream. So I don't know if you know it, guys. It's restream.io, which is cool. Lets me stream in multiple places at the same time. But I just paid for a premium, well, not a premium, like the first subscription, and it still does not allow me to stream in more than 720. That's pretty outraging, honestly. I will have to pay for a larger subscription to be able to stream in Full HD. So today, still shitty quality. I apologize. Tomorrow, probably I will upgrade. Hey, Joe. Good morning. Thank you for dropping by. I wish that you have a very productive day today. Okay, cool. Let's start with the Pomodoro. So let's catch up with what I was doing yesterday, which is that I finished implementing the load count functionality for attributes, which essentially allows me to decide how many items I want to load at the same time. So here it's 20 items. So every time that I click on more, I'm adding 20 more items, which is cool. So that's done. The thing that it's missing now is that I need to add automated tests for this. And that's what I want to do now before creating a PR and committing this. So let's do it. Let's do it super quick, and then we will go back to continue planning for the rest of the features, which is still a work in progress. Okay. So give me 1 second because I have a bunch of things here. Great. Well, first of all, I want to review what I did so far in case that there's anything that I'm missing. So let's do a quick review of this. Um, da, 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 da. So we updated the list component, and that was because now instead of having a single pagination previews and next element, now we have multiple. And now there's one thing that I remember that I wanted to do, which is renaming this, because this now it's specific to just Webflow CMS. It's not any pagination previews or any pagination next. It's specifically the Webflow CMS. So I want to be clear about this. This is going to be pagination previews, Webflow element or CMS element. We can call this maybe CMS element, which will make more sense. Yeah, and the same thing in here, CMS, like that. Because then I know that anybody who's jumping in here will know better that this is specifically something related to Webflow CMS, like that. So now let me just check that there are no errors. We've got this in here. Yeah, I need to rename this as well. Like that. Pagination next, pagination previews. Like that. Pagination previews, pagination next, pagination next element. Good. No more errors. That is good. Great. And what about here? So same thing. Let's just rename it here. And let's rename it here. And now I can get rid of it like that. Okay, cool. So now this is clear. When we are loading paginated items, we are doing this. Pagination next CMS element, pagination previous CMS element. That's clear. And maybe this could be called load paginated CMS items. Because then this is also clear that it only is related to loading things from the CMS. The main reason for that, hey Raul, thank you for dropping by. The main reason for this is because in CMS, not CMS, sorry, in FS list, in attributes v2, it is built specifically not only for Webflow CMS, but for any list. Because one of the main things that people were asking in attributes v1 is like, hey, but I want to use the same thing, but when rendering a list from Wist, or hey, I've got some custom code and I'm rendering some items and I want to use filtering for this. The first version is very tight around Webflow CMS, so it was hard. We needed to, interact with the Webflow, with the JavaScript API to do a bit of hacking around, etc. So in V2, it's designed around allowing any kind of items, not only Webflow CMS items. And loading pagination query, they should be called like this. I don't know what happened in here, but they should be called like that. Okay, great. I see an error here. Let me just double check. Are we getting the same error? No, that was cleared. Great. Nice. So I want to add some testing, but I also remember that I wanted to do one last refactoring. Hello, Shane. Thank you for coming. Good morning. Cool. So there's one last refactoring that I wanted to do. When we are initializing the modes in here, well, we have an entry function that essentially just initializes a specific mode for for the attributes loading. It could be loading all, it could be loading more, it could be loading infinite, or it could be loading pagination mode, right? The one that we affected when doing the load count, it affects both the init more mode or the infinite mode. In both cases, when init more mode, it's when we are explicitly clicking on the next button to load more items. And the infinite mode, I'm going to add a test later, but essentially it's when we are scrolling and it reaches the bottom of the list, then it keeps loading more and more items, right? So inside here, I did one thing that I think that could potentially have side effects. The way that list works in this case, we've got hooks, and it has a dedicated life cycle where we start from all the items. Let me show you. We start from all the items, which would be the, actually, let's move this up because it makes more sense. We have all the items in memory. So this means all the items, not only the ones that are displayed, but all of them. So we keep all the items in memory, but then we've got a bunch of steps, a bunch of hooks that we call for the life cycle that mutate these items. And it goes, one by one. So the first one would be filtering. So from all the items, we've got a hook to filter things. Then after filtering, we sort things. After sorting, we paginate them. Then we've got a hook for before rendering things. Then we've got a hook when we are rendering things. And then we've got a hook after rendering things. So essentially then, in each step, we can hook and do things to mutate these the items to decide if they should be displayed, if they should be hidden, etc. Right? So here in the more, we have a hook for paginating, and the only thing that we do is, because technically this is only a single page, the thing that we do is, instead of switching pages, because we're not switching in a page, we change the amount of items that are displayed per page. So anytime that I'm clicking on more here, I'm adding more items displayed on the first page, because this is technically just a single page. So anytime that we're clicking on more, we are loading these paginate hook, I think. Yeah, we're triggering that hooking here. Now, the thing is that I initially did some logic in here where I decided that all pagination X elements, if all the items are displayed, then it doesn't make more sense to show the pagination next elements, right? But that only happens when we are triggering the paginate hook. And that hook is only triggered when we're clicking on the button. Now, it could happen that I click on the button. Now we have loaded all the items, but then, so when loading all the items, then this button goes away, right? But then programmatically, or because some async process did not finish yet, then maybe some items are added into memory. And in that case, the button will not display because we're not dynamically checking for items. We are just listening for clicks. So we need to change this. And instead of listening for clicks and hiding the button whenever we have reached the limit, but only after clicking, we don't tie it to the clicking event. Instead, we do a state-driven implementation where we check for the items, and if there are some items still left, we display the button. If there are no more items, we hide the button, and we do that dynamically based on the amount of items that are in here. Hey, Scribble, I am building a library for Webflow sites that allows us to expand how you work with lists inside these websites. So I don't know if you were a Webflow user, but essentially in Webflow, you can add CMS lists, or you can programmatically create lists, obviously. And we expand the functionalities by allowing you to sort, filter, and stuff. So I'm building a list related to this. Cool. Okay, so I want to change this logic to this. So instead of having this inside the paginate hook, instead I want to create an effect. Remember that I'm using view reactivity to make things reactive, so it's easier to to do this. So inside this effect, we can decide like all items displayed. Um, we can get, let's actually copy for now. We can get the amount of paginated items. And in this case, this would be the list items, the value, right? And in here, we slice them um, with the amount of items per page. So we know that actually, I don't even need to do this. I can just, yeah, because that's a bit redundant because we're checking items per page and we are getting the items, but I already know I mean, stores is items per page. So let's just use items per page. So instead, let's just do this. So all items displayed, and this would be the items per page. If the amount of items per page, it's exactly the amount of items in total, so list.items, if it's the same amount, that we know that all the items are displayed. And then we can do this, like that. Great. Which means that if dynamically after reaching the limit, we still load more items, then if we did it right, they should still be displayed correctly. So this can go away like this. And then, say in this particular case, yeah, we want to keep the paginated items. And then there's another thing that I used to do, which is that if we finished loading and all the items were displayed, we clean up all the functions. We clean up all the effects, all the listeners. But it could happen again that programmatically we have more items, right? So I want to get rid of it. It doesn't matter if we still have a bunch of memory allocated to this. I prefer to support adding more items programmatically and not having the listeners cleaned up. So this can go away. This can go away. And the only thing that I want to preserve here is paginating the items in the hook like this. So let's do this. Add the hook. And then this can be moved down here. And we can do handle pagination next button display. Cool. Okay. And because we no longer need the is loading thing, we can simply get rid of it. We can get rid of this. And now this is simpler. And about this specific logic in here, I think that in Attributes v2, we should not be that opinionated. One of the things that happened in Attributes v1, and that's why I added this bit of logic here, it's that by default, if there is a pagination previous button, we automatically hide it for you. And same happens for the page count, because technically you don't need it. But I don't want to be that opinionated in Attributes v2. I want to give more control to users. So for now, I think that I will let two users just set display none to things by themselves. So I'm going to get rid of this logic and just maintain, just let the users decide if they want to hide things or not. Great. Okay, let's try this for a second. I want to get rid of the caching. So let's do that. Actually, let me move this down here. Let's get rid of the caching because I want to load things slowly. Clear site data, everything, go away. Preserve the cache, empty the cache. Great. So if I load remaining, fuck, it's too fast. Let's clear the CDN. Anytime that you publish in Webflow, you clear the CDN, so then it loads, the first time it loads slower, and that helps me. Great, so let's do this again. If we did it right, then here, load remaining, now it should continue loading the items, and you can see how the button is still hidden, right? It's still hidden, it's still hidden, it's still hidden. But if, actually no, because we've got a watcher. Yeah, probably if I add more items, yeah, if I If I do this, attempt1 dot add items, and in here I clone an item. Let's clone this. Temp.2 dot clone node true. Actually, how was the add items API? I forgot. Add items, add items, add items. It should be an array. Yeah, it should be an array. So they should be this. If I add another item, yeah, it's going to display it automatically. Okay. Wait a second. Let's do here, instead of adding 20, let's add 900, like that. So then I can reach the end, but not, because when we do the load all, we add a listener to check for more items and we automatically add it. That's what we did yesterday. Okay, so let's do this again for a second. Okay, now I should technically have added 900 items. 900 items. Okay, good. And now let's do the same thing again. Temp1, temp2. Let's change this for a second. That's actually the other way around. So this is temp1, this is temp2. If I add another item, look at this. So now we are showing 1,000 items, but we've got 1,001 items. But now we can see again the load more button. So we could probably now click on it. Yes, and it should work. Cool. Okay, that's what I wanted to do. Great. Okay, so this is done. I will have to review again also the infinite, which we're going to do later. But for now, let's add a test for all of this. Let's add a test for this. Let me see if I forgot anything, but I think not. Well, one thing that we are left to do is actually not only hiding things, but for accessibility, also hiding stuff. So let's do this. Add any attributes to make the hidden button accessible. I think that we need to add the area hidden. Yeah. The tab index as well. Okay, interesting. Okay. Yeah. Great. Because then when the button is hidden, it should not only be displayed none, but also it should have the area hidden. Pagination previews, next button, display none, area hidden, tab index. Cool. Okay, good. Great, let's add a test. So the way that we add tests in attributes, it's essentially we've got a main entry package that it's in here, attributes. And in this entry package, we have some logic for dynamically loading the packages, etc. But also we've got all the tests because it's easier. So inside here, I've got my list. And in this list, I've got some tests for loading more, like that. So I'm going to use this for testing the load count. I already have a test for just the basic functionality of load more, but and actually I want to get rid of this load remaining thing. So let me go back to the basic one. I want to get rid of this load remaining. We don't need this. We can keep it simple, but in this other one, we want to keep it. And I don't want to call this load remaining. Well, yeah, we technically can do that. So from the original test, I'm going to remove this logic of testing for the load remaining. We're going to do it later. Great. So load more. And this is load more items count, I think. Load count, sorry. Load count. I'm using some IDs to stay organized in case that, because we're going to have a lot of different test cases. So I need to use proper IDs. So let's load more, load count. The URL for this, it's this one, like that. And in case that you're wondering, I'm not using local fixtures because we are dealing with Webflow CMS and it's very hard to simulate locally. So I just rather do it in Webflow. It's simpler. Okay, great. So we wait for the attribute to be loaded. We wait a bit more. Then we check for the list items. There should be a list items of 100. Then we get the next button. We click on the next button. We get again the items. But now in this case, there should not be 200. There should be 120 because in here we are loading. I changed that, but we are loading 20 items instead, like that. So let's publish this. So it should have 120. If we click it again, now it should have 140. Then let's get the load remaining button. And when we click on it, then we should have a count of 1,000. Yeah, correct. Because the total amount of items, it's 1,000. Okay, cool. And then on the original test, I want to get rid of this load remaining thing. Like that. Okay, great. So let's test it out. Let's play a test. Let's see if it's working. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Okay, this one failed. This one failed. Yeah, okay, so it got 500. It might be a race condition. We might have to check for that. Let me check again. Yeah, now we got 900. This is definitely a race condition. I really don't want to be adding timeouts, but it's the easiest thing. We could technically add an API to wait for the loading. Actually, I think that we've got the API. Don't we have the API? So in the load, there is load pagination, load more, load paginated items. Yeah, we could technically add a promise in the public API that allows us to check if the items are still loading in the background. So here in the list, initial items per page, loading pagination query, it's a promise. Loading pagination elements, it's also a promise. That's happening in here. And we do that because we initially load stuff that we need. We could potentially say loading paginated items. Yeah, let's do that. I think that it will be nice to have. So loading paginated items defines an awaitable promise that resolves once the paginated the Webflow CMS paginated items, once all the Webflow CMS paginated items have been loaded. And in this case, we could, when we're loading things, we could potentially do this in here. So we could do list.loading paginated items, and this could be a promise. New promise. And then we can, is this returning something? No. Great. And then we could potentially move this down here. And I messed something. Ah. Yeah, whatever. Hold on. Let me finish this. This should be an equal. Okay, we're gonna move this down here, right? And then we are going to resolve this would be async. We're going to resolve after doing this. Cool. Okay, because then now we've got a public API of loading paginated items, and in this case, this promise is going to resolve after having loaded all the paginated items. That will be helpful for the tests. Okay, great. We're almost done with this test. Break time. Okay. How am I doing, guys? How are you feeling? Anybody working alongside here? Anybody following the Pomodoro timing with me? Gotta think about what to do during these breaks. There's a cool thing of Restream where I can add some music. Look at this. I can add some music in here. It's nice. There's this shuffle. And change the volume. Oh. That's nice. I could even work like this. I wouldn't mind. What else can I do here? Captions. Well, let's get the music. That was cool. Captions. Break time. Nice. Nice. Low music is good. Okay, cool. I like it, actually. It's pretty nice. It's AI generated. So it's supposed to be copyright free. That's nice. Although then I should add my headphones because otherwise there might be some reverb. Let's try that. Let me make sure that the mic is still the right one. You guys can still hear me right with the mic, right? Okay. I'd be interested in to learn how filtering works with load more and pagination. Oh yeah. Yeah, nice. So let me show you. So essentially what we do, as I mentioned before, is in attributes v2, we've got hooks, right? So imagine that you've got a bunch of items like this in here, and then we process those items. And essentially, you can think of it as like a process where we got first all the items, and then we filter them, and then we paginate them, and then paginate, or do we sort them? Hold on, let me check. What was the next one? Oh, we sort them first. Sort them, then we paginate, etc. Right? So at each step, we've got a bunch of items. We've got a result, right? So let's imagine that in here, these items, let's say that there are 100 items. So then, if we've got filtering active, that means that anytime that the user applies a filter, the hook for filtering will be fired. So any logic that happens before that, it's not going to run. It's just going to run from here down to the next steps of the life cycle. So when filtering, we run a function that, gathers all the filters and then filters the original result, this one that is coming from here, into here. And maybe after filtering, there's a 25 items, right? Then if there's sorting applied, this goes, if it starts here, it's always going to go down to the end, which is after paginating, there is the before rendering, rendering, and then after rendering. So after filtering, then we pass down those items to sorting. If there's no sorting active, then it just skips this. But if there's sorting active, then it takes these items and it sorts them, and then it moves them down to the next step. And then if there's pagination, then it checks these items and it decides how many of these should arrive to the rendering. So let's imagine that we are on the second page, right? And we are loading 10 items per page. So we know that we need to gather from item 11 to item 20. And there's going to be 10 items. So then those 10 items that should be displayed, then those 10 items go to the before rendering hook. Then in before rendering, if we need to do anything like animating or whatever process we want to do, we do it in here. Maybe we want to hide the items first. And then when we're rendering, we show the items. So we do that in here. And then we move down, we render the items, and then we got a final after render, right? So these items are being passed down from the initial hook and being processed and processed and processed until they are rendered and the process is finished. When I get into filtering, you will see more about the logic for filtering, because it's nice. Because now it covers a bunch of use cases, not only simple filtering, but also advanced filtering. It's exciting. I like it. Can we say at some point how you implement the view reactivity into this solution? Yes, absolutely. It's very simple. We just installed view reactivity, and view reactivity has a bunch of helpers, like defining reactive props, defining reference, and then we've got a bunch of helpers like creating effects or watchers. So essentially, anytime that we define something that is reactive with view, and then we consume that inside an effect or inside a watcher, view automatically will handle the reactivity for me. So for example, the hooks in this case, they are using view reactivity. And the reason why we do that is because the items in this case, they are a reactive property. And we know that, okay, anytime that the amount of items changes, we need to run the full life cycle, right? So if we go back to here and zoom in, come on, zoom in. Now, if we are in here and suddenly we add more items, let's say that then we've got 120 items, we then need to run the whole life cycle again. So we need to filter the items again, we need to sort them again, we need to paginate them again, etc. And we do that specifically by saying, okay, this is a reactive property from view. So this hook will just be listening for any changes in these items. So anytime that these items change, the hook filter, the filter hook reruns again. Same happens in here. If we change any items in the filter hook, then the sort hook needs to rerun again. If we change any items in the paginate, in the sorting result, you can see how the result of each hook is also reactive property, reactive property, reactive property. So I can show you down here where we need the hooks that essentially, I've got some disabled things related to animations because I need to fix that. But essentially, yeah, here, we've got a chain. And essentially, we get the items from the previous hook. And if we detect, we watch for that. And if we detect that those items have changed, we trigger the next hook, right? Or for example, the items in here, we can add effects and we'll say, okay, if the total amount of items changes in this particular case, remember that the items property is reactive. If the total amount of items changes, then automatically update the text content of the items count element, which is this element, this one. So if we have more items, this, without me having to tell it explicitly, hey, go ahead and update, Vue automatically reruns this effect to update the text content in this particular case of that element. Does that make sense? I'm going to do eventually a live stream in the Finsweet Friday live streams talking about Vue reactivity because it's pretty nice. And it's not limited to Vue reactivity. This is mostly what signals are. You can learn about signals because it's widely used across many frameworks in JavaScript. It's essentially just creating a reactive state and then adding observables that observe when that state changes, and automatically they run callbacks that you have to find. Pretty handy. We also use that in Wisp. Okay, cool. So what was I doing before? I was handling this, the testing. Yes, I implemented the promise in the loading in here. So then I want to not do some timeouts in here. This is pretty ugly. Instead, wait, attribute loaded, and these, it's supposed to be returning the list of, 1 second, lists. Let me console.log this for a second. But I think that we should get, let's do list. I think that we should get the API of the list. 1 second. Yeah. Okay. So essentially, we've got a way to wait until a specific attribute has loaded, and in this particular case, I want to get the list instance, and I want to wait for the promise of loading paginated items. So let's do that. I will have to pass around some. Yeah. Let me add a generic here. Result equals unknown, and we can pass down here. And then in here, just to make it simpler, I can do list array like that, because now this is a list. Cool. And also then I want to wait. Yeah, but this is a test environment. This is going to crash. I need to wait, but I need to wait it inside the page context. I need to wait on the page context. So then, yeah, I want to be able to pass around some actual logic before returning this. So let's add an additional callback here. Let's do a callback. Because before returning this, I want to allow running this callback. And then I want to return the result unknown like this, because then these will allow me to, let's not do this because that's going to crash in playwright environment. Let's pass down here, and then in here I can pass a callback like this, and this allows me to then work with this, right? There should be a list. It should result. There should be a result like this, and they should pass the result as well. result. I think that we can get rid of this. And now this should be a list type. Yay, cool. Okay, so inside here, I can potentially do await list dot loading paginated items async, like that. So now not only we're waiting for the attribute to be loaded, we're also passing a callback saying, hey, also wait for this. And this is a bit redundant. I can just simply return it because it's going to be awaited anyways. Yeah, like that. So potentially now I can get rid of the page timeout, I think. Let's try it. Whoops, error. Page evaluate, oh yeah. Wait a second, because when evaluating things, we need to pass it in here. So the callback needs to be passed in here. Callback, right? Expected 2 arguments, but got 3. Yeah, okay, so let's do an object callback. And then in here, this can be like this. Is not assignable to parameter of type Finsweet attribute key. Yeah. Attribute key. This is a bit weird, but it will make sense in a second. I'm going to explain what I'm doing. Essentially, Playwright is a bit tricky to work with because anytime they want to, from the test, you want to run some logic in the browser context, the one that it is spinning up, you cannot do it directly from the test. You need to pass it through the page evaluate callback. So they got this method that allows us to pass some data, which is this data that I'm passing down here, into the browser context. And then inside the browser context, we can evaluate this. So let's see if that worked now. Now, load count, unexpected value, callback results. The result value is unexpected. Let me see. Line 14. Unexpected value. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Unexpected value. Maybe I cannot pass callbacks. I cannot pass functions down here. It could be that I cannot pass functions. Page evaluate, promise result. Got a callback here, and I'm passing that down here, unexpected value. But it's not giving me any other. What happens if I disable this? So if I get rid of this and I don't use it, what happens then? If I do this, does it give me an error as well? No, it does work. So the error is with the callback. The error is with the callback. Can I pass it but not consume it? Will it give me an error? Unexpected value as well. What if I have that, but I don't pass it? don't pass it like this. Okay, so it crashes when I pass the callback down. So that might be a limitation. It might be a limitation. Hmm. Okay, then let's not complicate things. I'm just going to create another helper. So 1 second. Let me discard what I did in here. And instead, let's create a helper down here that it's going to say something like wait items loaded. Wait CMS items loaded. And that's going to be a page, and then no need for attribute key because I know that it's fs list, so no need to pass this. No need to pass this. This is just going to be a list like that, and then this should return the lists, right? And they should be an array of lists like this, and inside here, actually I can call this just list. And inside here, let's try awaiting. Let's see if that help. We can do this. So in here, await, list loading items, loading, paginated items. And then after that, we can resolve like this. But promise undefined. What if I don't want to pass anything here? Do I have to? Okay. Anyways. Then I should be able to do this. This does not need to be async, does it? It does. Okay. Okay, so now instead of having, trying to create a universal thing here, which looks like it doesn't let me pass callbacks down to the page evaluation, let's try this. Let's try this. So instead of doing this, it's going to be wait CMS items loaded. No need to pass this. Only need to pass the page like this. Let's try it. Come on. Yay! Nice. Okay, cool. That's good. This means that I can replace all of these down here and get rid of the wait timeouts, because I did a bit of dirty stuff here. I was waiting for timeouts, which it's a bit wonky. Instead, we now can wait until all the CMS items have been loaded. Great. Okay, combine. Let's do this. Combine sorting. Let's do this. And then wait CMS items loaded. Great. Wait CMS items loaded. Great. Here again, no need to timeouts. No need for timeouts. No need for timeouts as well. Great. Load remaining. What is this? Hold on. Load remaining. No, I got rid of this, I think. Load remaining. Let me open this. No, this does not exist. This test is actually updated. Okay, great. Good. Nice. Let's run it again just in case to check. Nice. Let's try loading all of these. Load all, it's failing. Why is it failing? Where did it fail? Load all. The next button. Oh yeah, yeah. There's one thing that I changed. That's how it's important to test, because then when you change logic, you realize that there are things that you didn't update. Pagination next elements display none. Same thing. I don't want to be opinionated about this. I don't want to be opinionated about this as well. I want to let users display none things by themselves. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, great. Where did this one fail? Where did we have the error? Let's do the pagination again. Pagination previews to be visible. So here it's failing because it's waiting still for the locator. It's still trying to identify the pagination previews. Okay, let's show you that super quick. You know what? Well, I'm gonna do that later because I want to review the tests for everything. So let's add here review test for pagination. But for now, we've got tests for this. That test for supporting multiple next and previous buttons. That's actually technically done, because in the test for load more load count, we have two different next buttons. The remaining button is technically another next button. So that's done. Great. Great. Okay, cool. So for now, let's commit this, because the work related to load count and supporting multiple next and previous buttons, it's there. Well, maybe it's failing. This test, maybe it's failing because of the edited logic for pagination previews. So let's check that for a second. Pagination previews, pagination previews, pagination previews. It's the pagination previews test ID. So let's check it super quick. Yeah, that might be related to it. So let's try to do this before the cycle ends. So pagination here, we've got the next button, then we've got also the previous button. And if we visit this, let's add the dev equals to true here. So if I go to the next page, oh yeah, it's not showing the pagination previews, so definitely something wrong in here. Let's try to do it. Okay, so pagination. What are we doing? Get the settings, page template, handle pagination buttons here. Okay, so all the pagination previews elements should be set to display none. What was the logic that was implemented here before pagination? We changed stuff here. This was this. We had this. Let's compare it. Current value, it's not equal to the total pages value, pagination. Oh no, but that's the next element, not the previous one. So it might be related to that. Oh, yeah, found it. Yeah, I'm doing the same thing both. Nope, that's wrong. One should be pagination previews, which is when the current page, it's not the first one, it should be displayed. Otherwise, it should be none. So when the current page is not the first one, that's pagination previews, and then pagination next elements. They should be the one. So when the current page, it's not the last page, it should be displayed. Otherwise, it should be none. Yeah, let's try that again. Yay, okay, passing. And now this made me realize that we should also do accessibility for this. So let's quickly do that. Super quick. So should display. And then let's do this. But also we need to add attributes. Let's ask Copilot to do this for us. Area disabled. That's a good point, actually, because we should not only hide them, we should disable them. Which means that if the item is hidden, then we should not do anything if we're clicking on it, right? But that's happening already here. So area hidden as well. Maybe also tab index as well. Yeah. Maybe also we could completely disable it as well. So we could do element dot disabled. What happens if I disable? Let's start the break. What happens if I disable a link tag? I know that if you disable a button tag, does not do anything, but a link tag. Does anybody of you know what happens if you add a disabled tag to a link tag? Let's do a bit of exploring. So let's just create quickly just a link tag. Let's do a custom element. Yeah, custom element. Let's make these a tag. Let's add some things in here. Testing. And then let's do href. No need for any href. Actually, yeah, let's do something like /about, whatever. And then let's add disabled to true, right? Okay, so if I do this, I think that if you disable a link, it's not gonna navigate to the href, but I don't know if it still emits click events. Oh, it's okay. No, it still navigates. Did you guys know? Did you guys know about this? Interesting. So really, if then I add an event listener to this one, temp one, on click. Probably it's gonna, yeah, it fired that anyways. Okay, so this means that we need to handle that it's redundant to disable it, but it's not going to do anything in here, so it's fine. Okay. So then let's do the same thing here. No, technically I need to wait. Interesting. I never considered hidden elements still being interactive by user. Absolutely. Yeah. An element, if it's visually hidden, it's still fully working. The only thing is that technically the user doesn't see it, so they are not gonna click on it, but programmatically that element is still available. Or even by screen readers or any kind of tool that it's interacting with the website on behalf of the user. Those tools are still seeing that element. They don't care about the element being display visible or not, right? As long as the element is in the DOM, as long as the element is in the DOM tree here, that element is fully interactive. So we need to care about that. Okay. Break time. Well, it's 1 minute left, but break time. Nice. Let me check. I showed a video. I'm going to try to share videos every day about the advancements of things that we've done. So I shared about what we did yesterday of the load count attribute. I think it's nice to share a bit of a journey of how things are evolving. And it's just a way of letting more users know that I'm doing this live stream. So hopefully we will eventually have more people watching this. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see. It's fun for me. Actually helps me a lot concentrate because when thinking out loud, it just forces me to be thinking about the stuff. It's pretty nice. Cool. Okay, so let's focus back on this. So we were doing this. So same thing, pagination X elements that should display. Oh, I'm having a bit of cable management issues here. Come on. So should display list current page value is not the last one, correct? And then we factor this exactly as above. No, come on. This, like that. Current page value plus 1, current page value like that. Okay, great. Let's run these tests again. Even if it's working as expected, let's commit this and continue doing things. We are like your virtual rubber ducks. A bit, yes. So I'm gonna be honest with you. And this is a bit of topic, I know, but this really helps me a lot because if I'm working and I know that I've got people watching, I need to be working. I cannot be here just wasting my time, or watching Instagram or talking to people. Like I cannot do that. I gotta be working because there's people here seeing me. So it's honestly something that works. I'm doing it for me because during these 2 hours live stream, I'm fully productive. I'm just, working and showing what I'm doing. Because usually if I'm on my own and I've got the whole day for me, I'm just, I'm working a bit, but then maybe I stop, or then maybe I've got a lot of focus, but then I spend a lot of time just wasting my time, etc. So this is a way of forcing myself to be concentrated for at least 2 hours, which is nice. Okay, cool. So we've got this. So let's commit this. feed fs list load count plus multi-next pref buttons like that. Cool. So let's commit this. Hold on. I want to do it in here. Now. Great. Say new fs list load count plus support for multiple next and previews buttons. Great. Okay. And this is for list. Like that. Great. Let me review this super quick. We updated the tests. Good. We updated the tests. Yes, yes, yes. In the list, we moved these up. Yeah, all good. Then we changed how we store the pagination previous elements and the pagination next elements. We added this promise for loading paginated items. Yes. We changed how we query initially the pagination buttons. Yep. We renamed some things. All good. All good. All good. Then down here, we just renamed things. Yep. We simplified the init all mode. We simplified the infinite mode, although I want to add a test for that now. All pagination next elements. Yeah, so essentially, hold on. This is inside a hook, but it's in infinite. Yeah, we're going to handle that later. We changed a bit of the loading to add a promise and to check for the CMS elements. Yep. Yep, all good. Parallel items loading, we did the same thing. Whoops, there's one thing that we're missing here. And it's that when doing the parallel loading, we did some updates in the chain page load, but we did not do it in the parallel items load. Oh yeah, the only thing that happened is that these got renamed wrongly. So let's just not distract the things. I used to always distract the things, but now I've just gotten tired of distracting things. I think that it's clear now if you don't distractor. Sometimes, not always. But okay, pages query, pages query, pages query. Yeah, we could technically also do this. What do you guys prefer? Do you prefer to destructor always all the properties, or do you prefer to use name accessors like I'm doing now? I'm curious. Pages query. Okay. So fix naming the properties. Okay, good. So that's committed. Let's refresh. Let's continue scanning this and we'll move on. Okay, the load more. We added a bunch of editing. Now it's way simpler. Way, way, way simpler. Great pagination. We also fixed about the multi buttons. Correct. And then in constants, we got rid of the load remaining attribute, no longer needed, but we got a new load count attribute. Good. And then here we simplified the way that we store the CMS selectors. We also support multiple elements in this helper for adding new listeners. Great. Okay, good. This looks good. So once CI passes, we can merge it and move on. So while I'm waiting to do this, let's go back to my reference list, which is this one. like that. And here I'm collecting all the features that I'm building. And also there was a bunch of things I wanted to do. One is creating additional tables for the elements and the settings that we have. So let me do this super quick table. Oh, no, database. Come on. Table view, table of contents, database at a table view. Now, this is what I wanted to. Okay, settings. And in these settings, there's going to be attribute like this, and I wanted to add another description. And I want to also applies to elements. But this is not going to be a type. This is going to be a relation to the elements, and it's going to be a two-way relation. Settings, yes, like this. Add the relation. There is no limit on related to. So hopefully this means that I can do fs list load count. Defines how many items to load when clicking on more next button in load mode. And in here, if I create an element that it's fs list element equals to pagination next, description defines a pagination next button, not needed for the native CMS next button workflow. And here I should be able to connect it to here. Nice. Nice, cool. And I also want to connect things for the features. So in this case, not only I want to have this, I also want to have an additional field that is, again, a relation. And this will be related to specific elements. Related to elements, there is no limit, two-way relation. And this is features, add the relation. Yep, nice. And another one that it's called settings. Settings, relation. Here, okay, two-way relation, features as well. Like that. So then in here, when we were, let me move this to here and this to here. Here. Cool. So then the load count, change the default amount of items. Yeah, here. So the elements is going to be, actually, do we need the elements? Yeah, we need the elements. So pagination next, like that. Great. There's an automate test. Yep. Good. Okay. So now we should have everything defined in here. Like that. Yay. Okay, nice. This is cool. I like it. Great. I want to finish doing this as well for the rest. I know that it's a bit boring, so, but I need to do it. This has been great. This is passing CI. Good. Let's merge this. Let's merge this. Let's merge this. Great. This can go away. This can go away. I can get rid of this branch. Great. Cool. Okay, let's continue doing this super quick. So load the items count. There's an element that affects this, which is fs list element items count. And actually I got I is here. Do we have an automated test for this? I think that we do. I think that it's affecting in load more or little. Yeah, we don't have it. We don't have it. Okay. You know what? I think that I want to update the tests to not use the test ID. This is something that you can do, right? You can use test IDs to query elements, but instead I want to use the native attributes. And the reason for that is because now it's hard for me to know if these elements are using the settings that I'm expecting to check, because I might have named these differently. That's going to help me identify if I actually did an automated test for those or not. It's going to be simpler, I think. Let me see how long it's going to take me, because sort buttons, list, sort buttons. So instead of doing, for example, data test ID, I could potentially be doing locator, right? And in here, I could do, instead of button name, I could do fs list element sort trigger, and fs list field equals to name. If I do this and I get rid of this, let's see super quick if that's still working. It should. Yes, it does. Okay, then let's do this, because I think that it's going to be clear here. Color updated like this, and then get by test ID. I can get them by not using the list item. Let's get rid of these. Let's get rid of these. Let's get rid of these. No need for list item. We can use the built-in CSS classes by Webflow, which is w din item, this one. So locator, and then it's going to be this class, w din item. Same thing here. I can replace all these. Go away, go away, go away. Great. Look at that. Okay, cool. So we can replace this. And these, it's going to be as well a locator. And it will be this in here. So let's replace everything, because I see that there are a bunch of them. So like that, but it's going to be this like that, and it's gonna be locator, like that. Great. What else? What else? Get by test ID. Get by test ID. Yes, the same thing here, but instead of being name, it's gonna be year. Year. Good. And the same thing here, but instead of being color like the test ID, it's gonna be like this. And in here, get by test ID field updated, it's just gonna be updated. Updated. Okay. Great. We can do same thing here. And then get by test ID. Is there any? Get by test ID here. So potentially here, I should no longer need any test IDs. No more test IDs. No more test IDs. Like that. And then there's another test case, which is the sort buttons, sort load buttons. So there's a combination of CMS loading and CMS sorting here that I do the same thing. So no need for test IDs in here as well. This cleans up a lot. No need for test ID. No. No. And no. And these can also. Nice. What else? Next one, it's sort select. This is supposed to be sort trigger. So let's do that. So no page test ID, it's locator. Sort trigger, like this. Great. So same thing, no need for list item, no need for these, and these, and these, and these. Great. I've got the locator, locator. Great. Okay, combining. Combine. Okay, in the main lists, I have instances, so let's do that. So this is going to be, this will be a locator. And in here, we've got fs list element equals to list, plus we've got fs list instance equals to one is main. The other one is going to be probably full. And the other one, it's going to be bar. Yep. Great. Then no need for list item. This can be locator. Perfect. Okay, and then list combine sort, same thing. It's so weird when this happens. Like Webflow's page sorting, it's shit. I'm gonna rant about this. I really hate the Webflow's page sorting. It's so bad. Okay. No test IDs. No test IDs. Okay, so same thing here. Let's do that. Combine sort. I can replace basically the same thing, I think. Yeah. It's essentially a copy. And in here, get by test ID list item. Nope. Can be replaced by the locator. Great. No more test IDs, I think. Yep. Okay, good. Let's load more. Come on, I can do this in a minute and 30 seconds. Come on, come on, come on. Load more. Locator. Great. Get by test ID. Next button. In this case, I want to use the default button, I think. So let's get the list. So let's do const list equals to, nope, fs list element equals to list, correct. And in here, inside the list, we're going to have an item. And then the next button will be inside the list, will be a locator. And then this will be pagination next, correct. So list items in the page, yep, yep. Great. And then the load count, same thing. No need to have this, no need to have any test IDs. No test IDs, great. No test ID here as well. Like that. So in here, let's do the list again. List equals to, great, and this goes inside the list. And here, the next button as well, I want to use a locator of W pagination next. Great. Ah, we're in break time. Come on, come on. List. And load remaining button. This is, we should do a locator. And this is the pagination next, which also has a fs list, nope, fs list load count equals to all, like this. Okay, great. Oh, I'm still missing here, this. Okay, let's do it later. Kansas say hi and bye. We'll join tomorrow when working from home. Nice. Well, thank you. Not Algebert. I'm assuming that the name is Algebert. I'm having always some trouble when people from a that uses usernames. I need to call them out, not call out. What's the word? Shout out. But I'm not sure if the name is not. Oh, okay. So Noda Gilbert. Because I thought that you were doing something fun with your name, or you were saying I'm not Algebert. Okay, Noda. Noda, noted. Thank you for dropping by. I appreciate you. Okay. Great. I need to take a call, by the way, so I'm going to mute myself. Okay. Break time. Captions. Break time. Okay, cool. Well, oops. I should have run this. Ah. Let's assume that in 3 minutes it's the end of the break. um, we are gonna get into the last sprint then. So it's gonna be 5 more minutes, and then after, if I think that it's only three of us, but if for some what's the word? Casuality? No. If for any reason you've got something that you want to discuss about, I'll be happy to talk it. And if not, we're gonna end the live stream in 25 minutes from now. Something off topic that happened to me yesterday. It's a bit, how do I say the word? Like you're gonna think, what the hell? But it really happened to me. I've got a piece of tape stuck into my throat right now as I'm speaking. I feel it. And that happened because yesterday, as I was working, I was doing things. And then I've got somebody rang at my door, and it was an Amazon delivery guy who was expecting me to return a package. So there was something that I got from Amazon, but it did not fit my needs. So I was about to return it. I asked for the return of it, but I forgot about that completely. So then the transport guy came by, asked for the package, and the package was not packaged. So I got the item, but I needed to still put it in the box, and I needed to close the box and put some tape on it. So the guy was waiting, and I was rushing, like, oh shit, I'm sorry, I need to do this super quick. And I did it super quick. So I started to close the box with the tape, and I didn't have any sharp tools with me, so I used my mouth. I was like, okay, breaking the tape with my mouth. But because of the rush, a piece of tape just did not break correctly, so it went into my mouth. And with the rush of the moment, I breathed in, and that piece of tape went into my throat. And now I've got a piece of tape stuck into my throat, and it's very disgusting. And every time that I speak, I feel it, or every time that I swallow, I feel it. And I'm just wishing for it to just go down eventually and not feel it stuck in my throat. It's very disgusting. Anyways, something fun to tell. Hopefully tomorrow when I do the live stream, I can tell you guys that the piece of tape is no longer in there, because it's I don't wish this to anybody. Great, let's do the last sprint. Okay, so here I need to get the pagination next. That's going to be the pagination mode. So pagination. In here, we've got the pagination next and the pagination previews. And in this case, no need for test IDs. One page? Why one page? Come on, Webflow, I need to see. Well, anyways. So the pagination previews and pagination next, that's going to be inside the list. So yeah, what the fuck? I know, Shane. So pagination list, page locator, great. And then these two are going to be this, but locator. And I want to do like that, but this will be previews. Cool. Great. And then the pagination count as well. I think that what was the CSS class for that? It's W page count. Great. So list locator W page count, pagination count. Why am I getting it every single time? This could be a constant. Yeah, this could absolutely be a constant. And then the pagination buttons, those are going to be different. So it's this one, and it's the FS list element page button. So that can go away. And instead of doing this, we're going to do a locator of FS list element page button, right? Yep, page button. Pagination children, great. And list item page locator, this great. Okay, page locator. Okay, here. Let's replace this. Instead of doing these get by test ID, field name, blah, 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 blah. I want to change that. Ah, right, that's why I did this in here. Interesting. Okay, so this is supposed to be mutable then. Okay. Page located pagination count, same thing. So let's get it again. Pagination count, pagination buttons. It's probably going to be the same thing. Yep. Like that. So the list should also be, because here we're navigating to the page every single time. And I need to change this, by the way. Like that. So this should not be a wait for timeout. This should be wait attribute loaded. Now wait CMS items loaded. Nice. So no need for timeout here. Which means that, this can go away. Yay. Okay. Okay, we still have a bunch of things here. Let's combine sort. Nope. They should be page locator. Yep. And then down here, list item first, but we don't want to do this. We want to do a locator. Come on, ChatGPT. Come on, Copilot, give me. Yay. Locator, FS, list field name. Good. Like that. Great. And then again, the last thing. Locator, FS list field equals to name. Okay. How many of these did I mess up? Let's see. Come on. Great. This one passed. This one passed. This one, it's not passing. So probably, oh yeah. Okay, this one failed. Expect locator to have text expected, but it did not find it. Let's see. Let's sort load buttons. Something changing here because now we're getting gray instead of black. This is list sort load buttons. Let's see. List sort load buttons. This is following, it's waiting, then clicks the name button and it expects the first item after it loads everything. Come on. It expects the first one to be Visatara, nice. Then it clicks it again and expects the first name to be Alalio, great. And then it clicks the year and expects the first one to be 2017. Then it clicks the year again and expects the first one to be 2024. Great. Then it clicks the button color and the first one, it's gray. And I don't know why, but I added here black, but the right behavior is gray. Okay. Then it clicks it again and it expects to see. No, hold on. This is not working. Ah, what happened here? What happened here? FS list field color. FS list field color. FS list element sort trigger. Huh. We might have a bug in here. Maybe it's because I did not publish this. Let's try it again. Okay, name, year, color. This is not doing anything. Cannot read properties of undefined reading type. What is happening? Oh, I think I removed something from this. So it's breaking after sorting by year. And this should be a type of number. Reading type. Interesting. What if I don't have the type? So let me do this again. Huh. So it only happens when I try to sort by color, but it's trying to find a type. But there's no typing here. Am I on the same page? Let's sort load buttons. Let's sort load buttons. Yes. There's no type in here. Okay, let's try to see this. Okay, so sorting, something is failing here. And it's happening here. First item prop type equals the number, second item prop type. Interesting. So could it be, let me sort by, let's console log this. And the sort key. And also let's sort the first item. Let's console log the second item. Let's see what's happening here. Because something weird is happening. Dev equals to true. Okay, so it's happening that at some point the first item prop is undefined. Oh, I know why. Because there's got to be some car that does not have that property. So here there's actually a bug. Then it's that if either the first item prop or the second item prop are missing, we should not be sorting, right? Should we sort? If one has the property and the other one does not have it, then I think that we should do, no, we should do, if there is no first item prop, we should return 1. If there is no second item prop, we should return -1. So I think, let's see that. 1 second. What happens if I do this? Color. Okay, seems to work, but it's a bit slow. Oh, but I think that it's related to the console logging. Yeah, it's console logging. Let me see super quick. Which one does not have... How many items am I loading here? 20 pages. Oh, no, let's limit. Well, actually, no, let's keep it as is. Come on, let's load 20 pages. Huh. More. How many are left? Here. Okay. Okay, so you can see how there are a few fields here that don't have color. Now the question is this the expected behavior? So when I'm sorting by colors in here, if I do descending, it should go from Z to A. If I do ascending, it should go from A to Z. And the ones that don't have anything are always staying at the end. Is that right? Let's ask ChatGPT. So I am trying to sort a list of items, but I'm not sure about the expected behavior. The items are being filled as sorted using a property called color. Some items may not have the property defined. What's the expected behavior when sorting ascending? What items should be first and what items should be last? Where should be the items that don't have the color property defined be placed? Same question when sorting by descending. Let's see. I want to see what's the official convention of doing this. I want to make sure that I'm following conventions here. Ascending order, items with defined color from smallest to largest. So from A to Z, correct. Items without a color placed after the items. Okay, so did it right. Why put them last? Many developers find it more intuitive for missing values to appear at the end. Okay, descending order, items with defined color from largest to smallest or Z to A. So I think that we did it right. So descending from Z to A, ascending from A to Z, and always the ones that don't have the value are placed at the end. Okay, great. And Shane, you said that's the logic I use. Nice. Okay, we're on the same page. Okay, so that's great. Look at that. By reviewing the test, we found a bug. Great, so then let's do again this. So name, year, color. So So it should be black and yellow. Okay, that was the expected behavior. And then update it. There's no change in that. Yeah, it's a bit redundant, that one. Okay, is it passing now? It should be passing now. Come on. I think that it takes a while because it needs to wait until all the items are loaded. Yay, great. Okay, nice. Let's see the combining. Did I mess anything up? Nope, working. Nice. What about the loading? Does any of these fail? Load all good. What about the others? Pagination failed. Shit. Come on. Pass. Those also failed. Okay. It failed. Why did it fail? Timeout. Let's go one by one. Where is this one failing? Pagination next. Maybe it's failing to find the next button. Yeah, looks like it's failing to find the next button. So that's load more. Inside the list. Yeah, we made that mistake because it's not inside the list. It's in the parent. Yep. So let's not look for that inside the list. Let's look for it inside the page. Because there's a single list, so it's fine. Or can we do... Can we find a parent? Because I'm getting the list. That's good. Get the parent element of the list. Parent element list evaluate handle. Oh, nice. I didn't know we could do that. Execute JavaScript code in the page, taking the matching element as an argument and return a JS handle. Oh, okay. So then we can do this? No. As element. Evaluate handle. Nah. Thank you, Joe. See you tomorrow. Thank you for coming by. Appreciate you. Okay, so here, let's do on the page. Yeah. That's on the page. So they should pass now. Yep. So probably this will happen in here as well. The next button should be on the page as well. So they should pass now. Yep. And the pagination, probably it's happening the same. Yes. So here, let's do this. Okay. What happened here? It expected, oh, element not found. The page count. W page count. Yeah, same thing, because it's not on the list, it's on the page. And same in here, page. Pagination buttons children. It's a pagination buttons locator. Fs list element equals the page button. And that's in the load pagination. Load pagination, load pagination. Fs list element equals to page button. Locator asterisk. Page locator. Fs list element equals the page button. Is it not finding it? Right. Yeah, because no, we're not checking for the specific button. We're checking for the pagination buttons. So for this one, we might need the data test ID. Yeah, for this one, we need to maintain the test ID. So let's maintain the bad by test ID. Let's try it again. Okay, it failed here. List item first. It has what did it expect it? It expected to have text unexpected token while parsing the selector. Fs list field name. Yep, because this it's missing the closing bracket. Okay, now it failed in here because it's expecting the element is not found again, and that's because as well they should be on the page, and they should be pagination buttons. Nope, they should be test by ID, by test ID, pagination buttons. So we don't need this list, and we don't need this list either. We're almost done. At least today, we're gonna have fully passing tests. Okay, great. So we've got this, fix the tests. I'm gonna push the master, I don't care, because this is not a live project yet. Don't do this if this is a live project. But fixed, sorting when missing fields. That's for this. And core updated tests to use attributes instead of data test ID. Okay, cool. So we have reviewed the test for pagination. That's great. We are still doing the feature breakdown. It's fine. We are going to add tests for infinite loading, which I'm going to do today. Tomorrow, we are going to jump into the filtering. I'm going to review everything else, like combining, combining it's actually done. But everything else that it's in the list. So nesting, select sliders, tabs, all that stuff is going to come later. It's implemented already, but I need to do the tests and stuff like that. So tomorrow it's going to be focused on filtering. Yay. There's a lot of exciting things on the filtering stuff. Let me give you a sneak peek because we've got basic filters. Let me show you. Filter basic. But we've got in the basic filters, we already have some updates. Like, for example, each of the fields can get now a dedicated operator. For example, I can have a year here, but I can add an operator that says fs list operator, and we can say greater than. And this is only going to be filtering for any year that it's greater than this, or we can do less than. We can do less than, we can do equal, we can do contains, we can do fuzzy, which is one of the most exciting things. We can do fuzzy, which I can show you here. And in this case, when using fuzzy, what happens is that you get not exact results, but instead you can define the threshold when filtering for fuzzy things. So you can see you can set how strong should the filtering be based on the fuzzy settings. So if I do dev equals to true for a second, here you can see how I can filter by name. But if I do, instead of alalo, I do like this, you can see how I'm missing an L. It's just supposed to be two L's. It's still finding me the record. It also means that I can do multiple results. So I can do alalo, albeo, like I can do multiple items and even with typos, and it's still going to be returning the results. And that's cool. And that's happening because, as I mentioned, we've got the fuzzy operator. And by default, it has a weight scoring system. And it has a range between 0 and 1. If it was 1, it would only match the exact results. And if it was 0, it would basically match everything. By default, it's 0.2. So you can come here and you can say fs list fuzzy. By default, it's 0.2. But we could do, for example, 0.8 to be more strict, or we could do 0.1 to be more open. And this is great because it's going to allow users to define how strong should the filtering work when doing the fuzzy operator. Then there's another thing that I'm very excited about, which is that we finally have results, forecasted results for checkboxes and radios. Let me show you what I mean. Dev equals to true. And that's actually in a different PR. So I need to switch this into filter result. Like that. So as you can see here, we now can show how many estimated results are per checkbox or per radio button. So I can see that there's going to be 18 blacks, 34 yellows, 27 oranges, 27 blues. If I select one of these, obviously now, because there's only a single color per item, now it's saying me, hey, if you select yellow, there's going to be an additional of 0 items. But if I had multiple colors, it would show me like, hey, you can get additional results if you select yellow or if you select orange, stuff like that, right? And this is very exciting. I think that a lot of people is going to come by. Thank you, Justa. Great updates on the filter. Appreciate it. And there's more things, and that's actually the most exciting thing. This is Finsweet attributes list, I think. Design.webflow.com. I need to unify because I've got a lot of different Webflow projects. But in here, we've got advanced filters. And this is super exciting because in here, let me see if it's in dev mode. Is it in dev mode? It is. Let me see if it's working now because it might be broken. It might be broken. But you can see how we can add, we can do advanced filters, kind of like you can do in Airtable, for example, where you can add conditions, you can add condition groups, and you can decide like, hey, okay, so this field, the name should equal to whatever, and then the year should be greater than 2020, and the color should contain or should not be empty, should be defined, right? And you can do this and you can decide like, okay, should it be and or, same for the groups, etc. So we're going to allow having like these very advanced filters that it's very similar how what you can do in other platforms like Airtable. This is one of the things that I need to focus on this week, and I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited. That's going to happen tomorrow, probably. Whew, a lot of things coming and a lot of work to do, by the way, but I think that it's exciting. Nice. Okay, well, I see that there's a bunch of people here watching. So first of all, I appreciate all of you spending time with me. It really helps me a lot. Just sharing what I'm doing, and it keeps me motivated. So thank you all. Tomorrow I'm gonna do the live stream at the same time. So it's gonna start at 10 a.m. UTC time. So 10 a.m. GMT. It's 10 a.m. London time. It's 11 a.m. Spain time. It's 3:30 p.m. India time, I think. It's 5 a.m. New York time, I think. It's no, not New York time, LA time. It's very early for them. Um, but yeah, gonna be streaming tomorrow, same time. So if you wanna come by and work with me, I appreciate it. And the stream. Thank you all. I wish you everyone a good day and see you tomorrow. Goodbye all. Thank you, Shane. Appreciate it.